The opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Radio Fanshawe Incorporated, CIXX-FM, Fanshawe College, their management, or staff.
106.9 The X now presents Straight Talk, a community access program dealing with a wide variety of issues and concerns designed to entertain and inform. If you would like to suggest a topic or wish to appear on the show, please call us at 519-453-2810, extension 510. And now, Straight Talk on 106.9 The X.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Straight Talk on 106.9 The X FM. I'm your host, Bill Paul, and on today's show, our guest is Raine Vance, and she's with a very special event called Bubbles of Love. And this is being supported by the Parental Alienation Awareness Organization. But it's a day of fun for the whole family. It's going to be at the Covent Garden Market in the front area where you skate in the wintertime and have your lunch in the summertime. And I was involved with it last year as a town crier. I'll be involved with it again this year, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And there'll be lots of bubbles, I know for sure. Welcome to the show, Raine Vance. How are you, Raine?
Thank you. I'm very well. Thank you very much.
That's a cool first name.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's my nickname.
All right. Now, tell me, what is the Bubble of Love? Is it Bubble of Love or Bubbles of Love?
Bubbles of Love.
And what is that event?
Well, Bubbles of Love is a campaign, a global campaign that's worldwide. And it started by Sarvi Emo of Oakville, a woman who encountered the problem of parental alienation herself and had friends who encountered the same problem, and obviously being such a courageous spirit, decided to do something about it, started an organization called Parental Alienation Awareness Organization, and from that she decided to birth a campaign called Bubbles of Love. And Bubbles of Love is to bring awareness to this form of child abuse, which is parental alienation, and get people to just understand that it is, in fact, a form of child abuse. It is happening quite prevalent and growing. And until we can sort of advocate to change laws and go that direction, we really need to raise the level of awareness first and make sure that people understand what it is and why it's so important that we know about this and how we can move forward.
But just not to scare people away, it's not a serious event. There's some serious aspects to it. There's flyers and information available, but mostly it's a fun day.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It comes from, a very serious issue, but it's a fun day to celebrate. The bubble is representing love and the power of love and how love can lift us above, certain problems and issues. And we're taking time out that day to just really, like you said, have fun and blow bubbles and basically bring people together to connect and share this awareness, educate people, and also give them some information on how to handle this type of problem or form of abuse if it's going on. But yeah, to have fun and celebrate in sort of the name of love and how that's going to bring us together.
And we're talking about every kind of bubbling imaginable.
Yes.
Last year, there was a bubble machine just spewing out the bubbles. Yep. There were people with individual bubble guns and bubble wands and everything.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then there was a giant bubble maker where you could actually get inside the bubble.
Yes.
And there were kids inside bubbles that day. And you're going to have a craft table. I know I'll be doing balloon animals and balloon hats for anybody who wants them.
Yay.
Yay. And the town crier will be there to bubble off and ring the bell and start off the bubble and get set and start bubbling. And so that should be fun. Between what and what hours on April 25th is this going to take place?
It's going to start at 11 o'clock. And at 12 o'clock sharp is when we'll do all the bubbles.
So that's 11 a.m. and 12 o'clock noon, and we start bubbling.
When we do the bubbles, yeah. And then at 12:30, we're gonna have the bubbles go from 12 to 12:30. And at 12:30, there will also be a march. So if anyone's interested in participating or showing up for the march too, that will happen right at 12:30.
I'll bring my bell.
Yeah, okay. Until approximately 1 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So anytime between 11 and 1, but we will start the bubbles and all that kind of fun and people stepping in bubbles and becoming a bubble at about 12 o'clock.
And so it's all over by about 1 o'clock then?
Yeah, after the march, I think we'll wrap it up by 1 o'clock and just keep it sort of short and sweet and make it lots of fun.
Short and bubbly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you can get food there too. It's a Covent Garden Market, so
yes,
yeah.
We won't be sponsoring free food, but no, there will be food available at the market. Lots and lots of food. Yeah.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Wednesday.
Oh, well, the market's certainly open then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't been in the Covent Garden Market, you are really missing out because they've got every kind of food and every kind of gift and every kind of farm fresh produce out there. So
absolutely.
So definitely, when you come down to Bubble, stay to look at the market.
Yeah, there's a skating rink too. I know in the winter, out in the I didn't know that.
When it's cold enough.
A hidden gem, yeah, in the Canadian winter.
Yeah, who knows when that is?
Right, maybe in March.
And in the summertime, it's the farmers market outdoors, certain days of the week, Thursday and Saturday morning.
Yes.
And then the rest of the week, you can bring your lunch out and sit at tables and chairs out under the sun.
And suntan.
Now, one thing I don't think we have really gotten into yet is what is parental alienation? This is organization Parental Alienation Awareness is sponsoring this event.
Yes.
But I don't know what parental alienation is.
Well, parental alienation is Parental Alienation Awareness is an organization that really wants to raise the awareness of this type of abuse on children. And it's also another short form is HAP, H-A-P, which is Hostile Aggressive Parenting. And it is a growing form of child abuse amongst children in high conflict divorce, separation, and sometimes even in marriages where people aren't divorced but may be sort of pitting one parent against the other, or target, what they call the target parent is the one who's receiving this type of alienation. And it's where that one parent is really kind of trying to alienate in different tactics that child from the other parent and having a normal, healthy, loving relationship. So Bubbles of Love comes in to say, it's important that these children have the opportunity to have both parents love them and be able to love both parents and not feel like they're caught in the middle, they're a traitor, or they have to suffer the rejection or hostility of the parent who is being aggressive and trying to get them to alienate the other parent.
I think, unenlightened days, we would have called those mind games.
Yes. And you are so right, and it has actually been referred to as cult-type thinking because it is referred to as brainwashing and, sort of poisonous manipulation of someone's emotions and mind. And
children are malleable, so they can be pitted against other parents. They can be tricked. They can be manipulated, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Especially because the parent is in a position of trust. So if the parent says this person is evil, well, you trust them that they're telling you the truth so that you don't know what the truth is.
Right. And as kids, you're right. I mean, they just want to love both parents. And I do want to say there's an exception, and the exception is sometimes there is, in fact, an outright abusive parent, and it isn't just a situational sort of anger and, kind of how do I get my kids back, and I'm worried that I'm not going to see them or things aren't going to go my way. But
it's also sometimes that the abusive parent is also the manipulative one.
Right.
So that not only they're abusive, but they're trying to convince the kid that it's the other person who's abusive.
Yes. And I would actually question that in these cases where there is a parent that is being showing this form of abuse to a child, if they're not in fact a typically abusive person, or if it's just a situational thing. So I would suggest to people to kind of clarify that in their own personal situation, maybe with professional help to sort of differentiate. Is this a situational thing that's come up that we need some help with, or is it something that goes a little deeper? Maybe the one parent has been abused and not known it. Because emotional and mental abuse is not something you see. So without knowing the signs and symptoms, you may not realize you actually have been victimized by this type of person, and then it's just coming out in the divorce and separation on your children as well.
Raine, why can't we all just get along?
That's what we're saying. That's why we're blowing bubbles too,
Why do people have to play nasty mind games on each other? Why do people have to manipulate? Why can't they just say, listen, your mother and I are separate, but we both love you, and let's just all get along.
Yes, it's true. It's true. And I started off that way with my divorce, over 10 years ago, and just setting it up with meeting with the children and both of us there and saying, we both love you. We don't get along. Sometimes that happens, and it's healthier for us to live in separate houses and be happy than to be in a house together and be angry, and then, you're not going to feel great as kids growing up with that. So I said, the good part is you get 2 birthdays, 2 Christmases, and I made it really positive. But unfortunately for myself, unlike maybe everybody else in this situation, I do have a partner who is extremely abusive. I wasn't aware of it until later in the marriage when I came across a book that really helped me to understand what it is. And that book, so everyone knows, because it is a fantastic book, is called The Abusive Relationship by Patricia Evans. And once I realized that, when we did get divorced, I realized that suddenly, about 4 months or so after, my children's behavior started changing. And this is the sort of the symptom that you would notice first when children start to change their behavior, start talking differently towards you or acting differently. Any other kinds of symptoms like feeling depressed, showing anxiety. I mean, the website will really be helpful, and I'll give the website at the end where you can go and understand.
Well, give it now, and then give it again.
Okay. Well, the website you can go to get a lot of this information and find out about other conferences and events that are held to raise your awareness is www.p, like Peter, AAWARENESS.org. So it's www.paawareness.org, Parental Alienation Awareness.
All right. Now, how has your relationship progressed from there? Once you noticed behavioral problems, and what did you do about it? What happened?
Well, for me, I quickly enlisted the help of professional counselors, and each city has a region that will help with community services. Mine was Halton Region. I was in Burlington at the time. London, I think, has Marymount. I'll check that at the end. They have a community service called Marymount something or other, but I know if you Google stuff, you'll find it. Mm-hmm. And I enlisted the help of professionals to actually help us with understanding, is this in fact abuse, and are we being abused, and what can we do? So my suggestion to everyone is first to sort of find out professionally, what your situation really is, and step back and have a look at it. For me, because I was with an abusive partner, once I understood that, I realized why this kept happening. And even to date, it hasn't stopped. So, the kids are older. They're 18. The youngest is 15, 18, 20, 21. And even as old as that, that they were told that if they went to their uncle's for Christmas, that they would be kicked out of the house. And they're only there by default because, my situation and him not paying ended up me having to move to London again, where I'm from London.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I would rather have come back on more positive terms, but I am with my family right now, and we're just kind of hanging out here until we regroup ourselves and I can relocate back to Burlington. But, it's a very serious issue amongst a lot of families, and I think Bubbles of Love is a fantastic organization that Sarvi Emo has started in Oakville, and it's worldwide. I mean, it's in Germany, Australia, South Africa, Brazil. I can't even remember all the places, but it is all over the world. And it's the 3rd year that Bubbles of Love is putting this event on. And I think it's a really great way to raise awareness and let all the professionals know, including police officers, judges, lawyers, family counselors, of this position that, this is in fact child abuse. And there is documented information that it is, and it's very harmful, and it can affect children into adulthood and sometimes tragically throughout their life, the whole lifetime. So, yay, we're gonna blow bubbles, and we encourage people to come out and show their support and find out about this program. You might have friends or family that you didn't realize are involved in it, and we'll make it a great day, and we'll educate you and have fun.
We're talking with Raine Vance here on 106.9 the XFM Straight Talk, and we're talking about the Bubbles of Love event, which is coming up April 25th of this year, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Covent Garden Market, beautiful downtown London. And we're talking about the group that sponsors the Bubbles of Love. I was there last year, and it was such a great time. It'll be a great time, and even more great this year because they've had so much more experience. The Parental Alienation Awareness Organization is putting it on, and we're talking with Raine, who's been through this herself. And did you get any benefits from contacting this organization?
Absolutely. I think they've done a great thing by really condensing a lot of information for parents on the site Parental Alienation Awareness Actually, let me just clarify that. PAAwareness.org. Sorry, PAAwareness.org. It's a tongue twister. I'm going with Bubbles of Love.
Okay.
I think that one's easier.
And there's bubblesofloveday.com, which is a general website.
Yes, that's the general website, and they did have one for London, but if you go to the general website, it does have a tab for events, and you can go down and you'll see London's event right there on April 25th.
And the London one is called bubblesoflovelondon@gmail.com for the London event.
Yes.
And tell us, who is Jim Ellis?
Jim Ellis is a wonderful community member who himself has come up against this issue in his own divorce, and I know he has been divorced for a while, like myself, and he has taken it upon himself to make the arrangements to host this event in London. So we just want to give thanks to Jim for really having the courage to come forward and make this event possible in London and bring people like myself and others together to help sort of co-host the event on that day and get involved in the march. So yay to Jim. And actually Nancy Campbell as well is getting involved. Nancy Campbell Collegiate Institute here in London, they have a big role in the Bubbles of Love Day as well. I know they are volunteering, and I know once a month the students reach out through service to their community and participate in a service day. And April, this service day also falls on the time period where their school will be participating in the Change the World Volunteer Youth Challenge. That's on April 15th to May 6th. But they're going to be volunteering on the Bubbles of Love Day. So they're very spirited. They always do a lot for the public and for the community at large. So they've been a great school in their spirit and help in participating with an event like this. So I want to thank Nancy Campbell, too, for taking action and getting involved. And kudos to them as well.
And about once a day, the town crier gets involved in something fun.
Yeah.
And this will be the fun thing for that day. And so I got my bell here ready to go. I'll be doing the hear ye, and bring my balloons with me too. And you can have a balloon animal, a balloon hat, a balloon anything you want.
Yep. And we can encase you in bubbles.
Right on. Well, balloons and bubbles go together.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Are there other things that the Parental Alienation Awareness Organization does during the course of the year? Do they have meetings or anything like that?
They do. And when you visit their website, it does give a list of different events and meetings, conferences, and things like that are available to the public, so they can get some more background information on, what is this? What is it about? What are the signs and symptoms? Do I know, are my children going through this? Is somebody else that I know maybe suffering from this? So it's really helpful, and they're really, the sole purpose for SARVI's organization is to really just raise the awareness, and that would be the short-term goal, is to make sure that we all understand and know what it is. And sort of the midterm goal, well, what can we do now? What can we do right now if we have children in this situation, whether they're our own or someone else's? And then long-term would be obviously, advocating for revamping the divorce laws in our system so that children are protected, and not like on that day when we make those big bubbles where a child is standing in the middle. It's kind of symbolic of, it takes that cooperation to get that hula hoop up and over and really make that bubble for them. But it's really symbolic of, in a family unit, it takes the cooperation of both parents to make sure that that child still continues to have that protective sort of bubble of love and be lifted above, all the issues that are adult issues and concern the parents only. So it's symbolic bubbles of love and the power of love and lifting us up over this, but also the bubble itself just keeping that child in sort of that bubble of love that you built as a couple, and you fostered the growth and love in that, and then not to take it away just because now you're divorced, or because maybe you're still married and you're having some conflict and problems. Not to burst that bubble with the darting comments toward the target parent, and, break that child's sort of safe place to fall and the ability to just have these two wonderful parents, to love. So.
Well, it's nice to be able to tie in bubbles to relationships and make it all work like that.
That's right.
Now, I'm also wondering, we're talking about legislation and laws and things, but this is human beings, flawed human beings, and emotions and history of relationship, and how much of that can be legislated? How many laws can you make to make families, couples, relationships work on some level and arrive at a positive outcome? And how much of that is counseling, sitting down and talking, and that sort of thing? Can you legislate a relationship?
That's a really good question and a really valid question. And I think you're right that you can't really legislate how the relationship works. Only the issue when it comes to children and the abuse in a relationship, whether it is an actual abusive person, a parent, or it's just a situational abuse, you really want to protect the children. And they do. I mean, I know Canada, for example, advocates, the protection of children and children not being caught in the middle, but they always are in the middle. It's just, can we make that a more warm, fuzzy middle, where we can agree to disagree but not hate each other or hate the other person and be abusive? And can we create maybe the legislation of laws where, we do in fact have a system that can diagnose a problem like that and maybe legislate that there is mandatory counseling involved to preserve that.
Get them to the table.
Yeah, and preserve that the bubble of love in the family. Preserve that for the child. Yeah, and bring it to the table and say, okay, there are issues here, but as adults, we have to deal with these ourselves, and we have to leave the kids out of this, and just create a certain environment. But the other big problem, I think, is enforcement, because we do have a lot of laws that are supposed to protect us, and I'm one of the, many parents that fall through the cracks for whatever reason, and, the laws aren't enforced. So, for example, my ex not paying for 6 months and owing $16,000 and upwards now of child support, has lost his license, but he's still driving around. He's still driving to work every day. So, without that kind of enforcement to back these things up, that becomes the secondary issue. But, going back to bubbles of love, I know it's sort of a grassroots. The first thing is just the awareness, and then coming together and, realizing how can we really cap a solution on it. And like you said, maybe not legislate the relationship, but maybe have some type of legislation for when families are in crisis, that there is counseling available, and sometimes make it be mandatory that people have to attend this and get themselves together and really preserve our families.
I know sometimes when government agencies step in too, there's been headlines over the years of government agencies either taking too much action, overreacting, or underreacting. So all of the evidence was there. You could have done something, and you didn't step in. And on the other hand, a child goes to school and draws her daddy with a ray gun or something like that, right, and he gets a SWAT team at his door looking for the gun collection in his house.
Right.
So, when do you know, when it's too much or not enough?
Yeah, and that's another good question, because the system is not perfect, for sure. Unfortunately, I was one of those people, and there are a lot of people that are out there that have been failed by the system, men and women, for different reasons. And you're right. I mean, there can be too much. Like in America, what I admire about them is they really take action when it comes to issues like child support, which, without that proper financial backing, you can't really financially take care of your kids. without someone stepping in and saying, the same thing when it comes to parental alienation and saying, you can't abuse this child and try to coerce them into not going and tell them bad things about the other parent that poisons their mind, just so that, you can have control and you can, sort of feed your own fears. You're right. I mean, sometimes the action is too much and sometimes it's too little. And I mean, you can only hope for something in the middle where at least there's some kind of coming together and, some level of balance so that that child sort of has a half-decent quality of life coming through this situation.
Kids also seem to be a little more sophisticated now than when I was a kid. At least they're more aware of things like bullying and abuse and that sort of thing. And they know what it is and they know what to look for. I'm just wondering if when parents make decisions about the child, in court, whether the court makes the decision about the child, or the government makes decision about the child, caseworkers, that sort of thing. Who actually asks the child, you're living in this situation.
Exactly.
What do you want to do? And does the child's opinion count?
Yeah, that's another great question, and it does count. In my situation, I do have the other parent was targeting me and trying to alienate the children against me. He actually was the one to advocate for a children's lawyer and social worker. And the funny thing is, it worked to his disadvantage. And of course, I was all for it because I said, let the children have a voice. So, our system does allow for that, for a children's lawyer and a social worker to come on board. They did speak to my children. I think the only unfortunate thing was because it was 10 years ago and there wasn't this awareness of parental alienation abuse, they were not aware that the children were in fact being abused until I brought it to their attention and gave them letters and documentation which showed that information. Even still, the social worker got it, but the children's lawyer was really out in left field and tried to encourage my children to visit their father when they were clearly stating they didn't want to, and they were upset and they weren't feeling well when they were over there, and they're getting sick and headaches, and they didn't like what he was saying, and he wasn't feeding them properly. And the social worker grasped it, but she didn't have the power to really initiate something legally. It was the children's lawyer who had the bottom line say, and she was basically telling my oldest daughter, why are you so angry? So in other words, the system victimized her as well. But it's a great question, and yeah, we do need to shed some light on it and blow some bubbles and, get people out to have some fun. And
well, let's sum up again where they can blow up bubbles. And this is the Bubbles of Love event. It's put on by the Parental Alienation Awareness Organization. It's April 25th, which you said is a Saturday?
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yep.
And that's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's at the front of the Covent Garden Market in the open air area. And there'll be bubbles, there'll be crafts, there'll be balloons, there'll be a march, there'll be everything. And where can we look for more information?
You can go to the bubblesofloveday.com website, and you can also, if you want to research about the parental alienation questions, you can go to www.paawareness.org and get more information on where the grassroots of this all started for Bubbles of Love.
And if you haven't joined the computer generation, you can give Jim Ellis a call at 519-659-4369. And we will see you at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, April 25th at the Covent Garden Market downtown. I'll be there. Raine will be there.
Yes.
And I don't mean the rain that falls from the sky. I mean the rain that's going to give you a bubble machine.
Yeah.
And she's with us today. And Raine, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for taking the time to bring the awareness to this event. And hopefully lots of people will show up and we'll connect and network together and support each other. And have fun.
Have fun. I'm Bill Paul, and go where the bubbles are. We'll talk to you again next time on Straight Talk. Bye for now.